as much as COVID's been a really challenging time, and I own a gym and my gym's been shut, and I'm really feeling for the whole fitness industry and many others like hospitality, we really have been in a fortunate place. And our business is probably going to double in size in 2020 the way we're tracking. I think your business generally gives you a good indication when it's the right time to rest. And it does feel at the moment that those that are hustling the hardest are getting the best results or pivoting best or making the most of this situation. I mean, I know my situation's a fairly unique one, but even others that have had to really pivot and think outside the square and adapt quickly or go tech-based or whatever it might be tend to be coping the best. So I would say do now what your business needs you to do, and then take that big deep breath later, because the time for rest will come. Look for things that you have found in this time, these weird silver linings, and make sure you don't just go back to completely how you used to be and not perhaps identify how they could become a new revenue stream.
Welcome to season 2 of the Make It Happen show. There's been a lot going on over the last couple of months with COVID and lockdown, so we wanted to bring you someone who has experienced both the lows and the highs. We're joined today by Sam Wood from 28 by Sam Wood. It's the online at-home fitness app that has experienced amazing growth over the last couple of months. The business itself has grown by 40%, but registrations have grown by almost 250% over the past 6 months. But it's not all about right place, right time. Today we talk about why 28 was so well placed for growth, also what Sam's done to drive and fuel that growth, some of the lessons he's learned along the way. And we also get into the business side of 28. How is it structured? What does it take to have an app that has hundreds of thousands of people using it? It's a really great conversation. Sam's learned some amazing lessons along his journey from fitness personal trainer to technology entrepreneur. And so I really enjoyed digging into the conversation with him, and I know you're going to love it as well. Let's get into it. So today we're joined by Mr. Sam Wood. How are you?
I'm good, Tim. Thanks for chatting.
Yeah, no, great to have you on the show. Great to hear about your experience, particularly over the last couple of months, and also the years that you've been in business. So I think to kick us off, the last 6 months for 28 have been huge growth. How have you made that happen?
It's one of those interesting ones, isn't it? Because it's very easy to just say right place, right time when you've got a digital fitness company that's all about getting people in shape at home and a pandemic like this sweeps through. But I do honestly believe that the hard work and the good product that you've built really does hold you in good stead for these challenging times. And as much as COVID is such a unique beast, it has just accelerated this normalization of digital fitness and training at home. It hasn't created it. It was always happening. It was always growing. We'd been seeing great sort of year-on-year growth for the 4 years that we'd been in business prior to this year. But if 30% of people were aware of training and using your phone on your bedroom floor was a thing at the start of the year, it's now probably 30% that aren't. It's absolutely woken up a whole new category or group of potential customers. And I think through necessity, a lot of people have tried it that perhaps wouldn't have and loved it. There's so many bits of great feedback saying, I can't believe I've never tried working out at home, and you really can get such a good workout, and you actually do it more often because it's so convenient, which means I'm getting better results. So, it's nothing we hadn't heard before, but we're definitely hearing it from more people. And as much as COVID's been a really challenging time, and I own a gym and my gym's been shut, and I'm really feeling for the whole fitness industry and many others like hospitality, we really have been in a fortunate place. And our business is probably going to double in size in 2020 the way we're tracking.
Yeah, that's amazing. But something you touched on right at the beginning there is, right place, right time, but built on a really good foundation. I'm sure there's a ton of other, whether they're competitors or similar businesses that haven't gone anywhere near as well as you have over the past 6 months. And so what do you think those solid foundations were for you that allowed you to really catapult through this period?
I think it's a couple of things. I think as obviously every gym has had to pivot and create a digital option. As a consumer in this space, you've got more choices than ever. So unless you've got a pretty damn good product, you're going to get swallowed up by all of these other cheaper alternatives. So
Yeah.
for us, it's kind of a premium offering, you know, great stuff on mental health, mindfulness, sleep, incredible nutrition offering, and great variety and ease of workouts. And obviously, then it's in a beautiful tech platform and really well served to our 28ers, as they're called. So I think when you've got that premium offering, it allows you as the space grows to still sort of stay ahead of the curve. And I think the other big thing for us is we've never tried to be everything to everyone. You know, a lot of
Mhm.
online fitness programs have, the at home option and the gym option and this and that. You know, we are at home specialists, and we have always been telling people that it all starts at home. And we call ourselves the home of home fitness, and that's what it's all about now. Doesn't You don't have to just.
Yeah.
It's not just for mums who can't get to the gym because they got two little kids. It's for all of these people that are now working from home, if not permanently, 1 or 2 days a week. It's for, men, women, young, old. We've seen a real expansion in our core demographic.
Yeah, has it been a shift in that demographic or just an expansion out? Or have you did you specialize in one area and then all of a sudden a bunch of different types of customers have jumped on, or it's just more of all the ones you were already servicing?
It's been a shift, actually. I mean, look, a slight shift away. Our core is 30 to 50-year-old women, and our core always will be 30 to 50-year-old women. But
Not a small market.
no, it's not. It's a really big market. And if that used to be 95% of our market, it's probably now 80. So it's still absolutely who our predominant 28er is. But we're finding lots of husbands and partners and daughters and, even older people getting on board and really, really loving the variety of the workouts and low impact options and Pilates and yoga and all these other things that we have on the program.
I can just see, I had a picture of the husbands like pinching the phone and doing a bit of their own, running their own workout. The wife would be like, "Hey, wait a minute, have you been doing my workouts?" Like, sorry, honey. And I think so. You're a premium offering in the category. I mean, what sets you aside as a premium offering, not just in terms of price, but like what goes into a premium offering in the at-home workout space, and what do the others miss?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, it tends to be a bit of a race to the bottom in our category. Of online fitness, it's how can I bring out the cheapest possible product and then not have to change it, and therefore I can offer it at $10 a month and try and scale it. Well, we're kind of the opposite, where you get what you pay for, and we're going to offer a premium customer service experience, for example, with 8 full-time customer service people working 7 days a week, night and day, to be there,
Oh wow.
motivate you, answer your questions if you're not a very tech savvy person and you need help, right through to that. It's all about that bespoke experience. It,
Yeah.
if one of the key things I learned being a trainer for 20 years is you don't just treat all your clients the same. You need, from a psychological perspective, from a nutrition perspective, and absolutely from a training perspective, you need to customize that experience to give people what they need. And if you can do that in an app that costs a lot of money, and has to be a very sophisticated tech platform to be able to do that. But that's kind of what we've continued to reinvest in over the last 4 years to allow us to do. And I definitely think when people try us, they realise it is that bespoke experience with great support.
Yeah, and I think it might be one of the big changes. So, yeah, technology, people have embraced technology through this period because they've had to. A lot more people are using, apps like yours or Zoom, or, my parents are now playing bridge over Zoom, which, a year ago would have been unheard of. So a lot more people are using technology, but also the expectations of what you get from that experience have really changed. I think, people have figured out how to deliver experiences better over technology because they've had to, and people have been hungry for it. And so now I think there might actually be even more of a move towards personalization, personal experience, high levels of customer service. Just happens to be through a technology platform, whereas you maybe would have had that face to face. That certainly plays into your expertise, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's that sort of intangible connection that you have with your members. I mean, you can have the best tech platform in the world, but my 28 program is all about me being connected to my 28ers, them being connected to each other. Sam's crew, as they're called, helping people every step of the way. And, there's a real personality to it. We want every 28er to feel like they are getting taken care of, that they are cared for, that they are connected to me, to my family. And, there's lots of, it might be $10 a year, but it's 10 workouts and 10 recipes. And getting in shape is about what happens in your head, not what happens in your body. And unless you can connect with them psychologically and emotionally, you're not going to get very far or be with them for very long.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so maybe just drilling down into this topic a little bit more, what are some of the key lessons you've learned about, building a community, really connecting people, maybe making people have a really good experience through the app? What do you think are the key tenets to that?
Yeah, the greatest challenge happens as you get bigger. It happened
Hmm.
beautifully and organically, and we were facilitators rather than creators of it in its very early days, and you could just see the magic happening. One thing that I do that I pride myself on that none of our competitors do is I do real time videos to our 28ers almost on a daily basis. I get on my phone, I do a
Ah,
selfie
cool.
video. It either goes through the app on SamCam or it goes into a closed Facebook community. Um, and I remember when I first started that, people were saying, "Sam, you're mad. You can't do that forever." And it was like, yeah, why not? It takes 30
Yeah.
seconds. It's, it's no point giving them pre-recorded videos that don't acknowledge COVID in today's current environment, for example.
Yeah, you're like, get out, do a 10K run. And they're like, I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's great, guys. Like fantastic. It needs to be about understanding the challenges that they're facing at the time that they're facing them, and then giving them,
Yeah.
some empathy and some, a cuddle or a push or whatever it might be when they need it most. And and I think when they see that you care that much, that brings them together as well. We also don't try and push things too hard. We don't force things upon them. We sort of let things happen as naturally as possible.
Hmm.
And pre-COVID, it was getting around Australia as often as I could and having meetups and face-to-face catch-ups and bringing people together. And now we do a lot of that online with free live workouts. And we've got tens of thousands of people in their daggiest pajamas in their lounge room with their kids and dogs and all that kind of stuff. And it's those kind of community things where they see that you're a normal person. And you're facing the same challenges. You keep it real, you have a bit of a laugh, you don't take yourself too seriously, that I think really allow you to connect and build those core foundations of a beautiful community.
Yeah, cool. And so, is there a community function in the app, or can people network in the app as well, or does that happen somewhere else? How does that happen?
We actually do it through Facebook, through a private community,
Yeah,
just because it's done so well. It was kind of, don't reinvent the wheel.
we're there as well. But I do speak to a lot of business owners that are like, oh, if we could just have our community not on Facebook, that would be wonderful. But it does work pretty well.
And again, that comes down to that high level of customer service. Out of all those customer service people, half of them are taking care of our 28ers within that private community.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
Only letting you in if you've joined the program, making sure it always stays a safe, supportive space with zero tolerance for, anything else. Sell other products, not allowed to put other people down. And, social media can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And if you facilitate it well, it can absolutely be brilliant, but you can't let it get away from you. We've really always been strong on that. And now it's interesting because we've always set those ground rules in a really nice, friendly manner, but they've always been there from day one. That's now, fulfilled by the 28ers themselves. The amount of times we try to, one of our crew will jump in and try and answer a question, and it's already been answered 6 times by other 28ers who've jumped in to help them already. And
Beautiful.
there's nothing more powerful than that, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so, what have some of the challenges been for you in the business as you've experienced this great growth?
Oh, look, I definitely think working from home while you go through such a phase of growth when you're a company that loves to collaborate and connect has been really
Hmm.
challenging. Zoom's great, Slack's great, and all these other platforms, but I'm a people person. I like to touch and feel and whiteboard and brainstorm and, all that kind of stuff. So I've really missed that. And I think, to think that we've gone from 20 to 25 full time staff this year, and I still haven't met 4 of them face to face, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the
Yeah.
28 office every single day working with my team, and to think that I haven't met those people in the flesh is just crazy. So, look, that's a challenge that we're all facing. I know we're not unique, but when you are growing and you don't have that chance to really, get around new people and collaborate, I've really missed that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Onboarding people remotely is way more difficult than you would have thought that it is. Like we went through that same experience. We had a couple of months out of the office and we had actually probably a similar number of people join during that time. And we all came together for the first time after that. It was almost a little bit surreal. You're like, are you real? Hi everyone, I just wanted to jump in here to let you know if you're enjoying this episode, it doesn't need to stop here. We've taken this episode plus all the other episodes and also video footage from the interviews and made it available for free. There's also a bunch of fantastic guides, tools and resources you can use to grow your business. To grab those tools, just go to www.the-entourage.com/podcast. Right, let's get back into the show. And so like the customer acquisition part, like so you've had huge numbers of signups. Has that largely been organic, or are you still actually driving hard on your marketing, your customer acquisition to take advantage of the growth that you're seeing? How are new people joining? How are you chasing that down?
Yeah, it's been through a few different channels. I mean, it's definitely been spending more in our existing channels as the market expands. So many more people searching at-home fitness, home workouts, lose weight at home, whatever it might be. We've also opened up with some great corporate partnerships where there's been lots of really fantastic corporates that have either needed to take care of their clients or their staff or both, and we've been a really, really good solution to be able to help them do that. And
on that one, was that something you did before? Did you have corporate partnerships beforehand, or is that a whole new area that you're exploring now?
That's a great. So we'd done some, and we were it was kind of on our roadmap for 2020 anyway. But this definitely accelerated. From doing some smaller ones with a few thousand staff here or a few thousand clients there to doing some really big corporate partnership stuff with nearly 100,000 people joining the platform in a 4 to 6 week period. It was pretty pretty crazy times, but it showed the scalability of our business, to be able to ramp up like that, not skip a beat from a tech execution perspective, still give those people this beautiful bespoke program experience, even though they were one of 100,000 rather than one of 20,000, was a really, really beautiful moment as a business owner to be able to sit back and kind of look at, what we're capable of, how hard the team had worked to make that possible, and how exciting the future is.
Yeah, awesome. Were there any moments of just fingers crossed? You're like, we've got 100,000 people joining this week. Let's hope everything holds up.
Yeah, there always is. There always is in tech until you press the go button. That day that the email goes out or the ads start pumping or whatever it is, and you're kind of awaiting the rush. Is always nervous moments in the tech space. I'm not going to lie, but once you take that big deep breath and absolute credit to my amazing tech team, worked their absolute butts off. A lot of these corporate partnerships happened at relatively quick turnarounds because people needed help and they needed it yesterday. And, they delivered beautifully, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
Yeah, awesome. I always say to our team, so whenever you do a new product launch, particularly if it's a technology product launch, it's fantastic if the minute after you press go, there's silence. That means everything's working.
I know. Yeah, exactly. It's the longest 60 seconds of your life, but it can be beautiful.
So actually, so you touched on your technology team. I'm really interested in what is the team behind 28? Like who's in the business? What functions are there?
Yeah, so in simplest terms, we've got a content creative team, we've got a customer service team, we've got a digital marketing team, we've got a tech team, and then there's some execs, as if we ever call ourselves execs. I can't believe I use that term, but we've got a CEO and a CTO and myself. Kind of oversee everything and work really collaboratively with that team. And I mean, one of the big changes of 28 over the last 2 years is bringing everything in house. We used to outsource a lot
Yeah.
of things to agency, and they were great agencies, but just from an efficiency and speed of execution perspective and cost, we weren't
Yep.
as efficient as we could have been. And it's just great having everything under the 28 banner and everyone working so well together. And we've got a brilliant CEO who drives us all, and he's an absolute ripper.
Oh, gotcha. And so how does that relationship work with you? So you're like the face of the brand and the founder, and I suppose probably pushing forwards. You got the CEO.
Uh, we're kind of we both sit at the top together. To be honest, it's even though I do the PR stuff and the fitness stuff, I love the business stuff, and I love working with him. And we kind of have very different strengths and weaknesses. I'm a bit more I don't know, in tune with what our customer needs and the creative side of things. And he's really brilliant with the execution, business now, commercial side of things. So we complement each other quite well. He's a really fit guy with a young family who totally understands who our customer is and what they need, and is really, genuinely passionate about helping people. And he understands the bigger the business gets, the more people that we can help, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, we're from very different backgrounds, but definitely have a shared mission, and yeah, we work really well together. I don't think we've had a bad word with each other in 3 years.
Yeah, awesome. It's actually a very similar relationship to what we have at the Entourage here. So we've got our founder and our chairman, Jack Delosa, who founded the business 10 years ago. And then I've stepped into the CEO role. I've been running the business for a number of years now. And it's almost actually exactly how you describe it then, right? He's looking forwards, amazingly in tune with the customer, always pushing forwards. And I'm like, okay, then how do we make that happen? How do we translate that strategy, which I'm definitely along on the ride with, but how do we actually execute it? Which is it's a great pairing to have.
Writing 11 ideas in 15 seconds on a whiteboard and then leaving them for you to clean up my mess. That's
Yeah, no, I know that well.
exactly how it is, mate. Yeah, but I think if you understand each other's ways and personality types and that kind of thing, then it can work really, really well. And it's funny, so much. David only joined our, for the first couple of years, it was me on my own, and lots outsourced and different people sort of coming in and out to help, but didn't have the structure or the systems, the processes in place. And you kind of look back and go, that was a crazy roller coaster, but thank God we don't still operate like that. And it's so nice to sort of be all the systems and everything. And when you then grow, you look back and you clearly realize that wasn't an accident.
So that's a very common journey for a lot of entrepreneurs. They start their business, and you start the business on hustle and an idea, and we're just going to figure it out as we go, and then they realize there's too many plates spinning in the air. It's chaos. I do need a bit of help here, but it's hard for them to relinquish some of the control. I think it's excellent. You've gone on a journey of bringing in David and got someone to complement your capability. What advice would you have so when do you think an entrepreneur should start thinking about bringing someone else on board to put a bit more of the structure in place so that they can keep on doing their best work?
The second you can afford it. Because it's one of those things that until you do it, you don't realize, and it's not a cost, it's an investment. You'll never work on the business as well as you could. You'll always be working in the business. You'll always get bogged down with the things that you're not good at. There'll be too many jobs left without execution, even though they're great ideas that could have helped your business if executed quickly or at all. It's the second your business can financially keep up with whatever that person costs, and they're the right person. Don't rush into giving equity away or getting someone on a really high salary or anything rash like that until you're sure they're the right person. You kind of tested the working relationship. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that most entrepreneur founder types are wired a similar way. And for me, particularly because I do the PR and the fitness stuff too, to wear the founder CEO hat as well was never going to be what I wanted to do or the right option. And now having a founder CEO working together, it really does work well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I definitely agree with the, you've got to find the right person. It's a marriage. It's a business marriage. Do you think, what was your CEO's background? Was it bigger business, smaller business? Did he have an entrepreneurial experience? So I think matching up you still need, even though this person's putting in structure and systems and helping the company grow up a bit, they've got to be entrepreneurial. They've got to love grow the business and hunt down opportunities. So, what was his background, or what do you think people should be looking for in terms of backgrounds in that partnership?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, he's from a consultancy background, um, with one of the big consultancies, but he worked in performance and growth. So he may not have been entrepreneurial himself, but he was one of these kind of people who could come into a company and really quickly understand where their strengths were, where their weaknesses were, where their systems could be improved, where there could be efficiencies. And, he'd done that in some really, really big organizations throughout Australia. And then for him, it was just, getting as much experience and understanding of a SaaS platform like 28 is as quickly as possible. And again, he had he's always been had a really good, honest self appraisal of where his strengths and weaknesses are, and understanding who else was needed um, within the team. What's your CMO's background? What's your CTO's background? Where's our chief product officers SaaS experience, and just ensuring that you've got, particularly with those key people, that they understand what a business like this that can move so fast and grow so quickly needs to look like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, hearing you run through all those roles there and sort of backgrounds they need to have, like you could be talking about any SaaS business, right? You've come all the way to being like you're the founder of a pretty serious technology business. How's that journey been from you? Like, you go from personal trainer into a business world, now into a high tech business world. What are some of the lessons you learned along the way, or challenges as well?
Oh yeah, there's been plenty. Been 20 years to become an overnight success, isn't what they say, Tim? It's definitely been the.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been in the fitness industry literally for 20 years now, and it sounds a bit cheesy, but I do feel it was almost the path I needed to take. I had so many lessons as a contractor personal trainer, from having to do your own tax and marketing, but most importantly for me, understanding what the customer needed. And so I think my connection and being in tune with what my customer needs has absolutely been a key to the success of 28, along with understanding your strengths, but just as importantly, understanding your weaknesses. And I
yeah,
used to try and do everything myself. I mean, you spoke before about that inability to relinquish roles. I was really bad at that, really bad. And even now, David will call me on it and say, "Mate, let it go. This is not your area. Go and do what you do best." And I now, the old me would have probably got my back up a little bit, and
or done it anyway.
yeah, oh yeah, okay, exactly, or gone and done it anyway and said tough. But I'm now much better at letting go, spending as much time as I can. And I think, because I was a bit of a workaholic, and now, my wife would still tell you I'm a workaholic, but now that I've got young kids and a family, and I want to spend as much time as possible with them, you absolutely let go, and then you have a much better business and a much better quality of life. So, yeah, there's been lots of
Yeah.
lessons learned. Not trying to do too much, and understanding your strengths and weaknesses has definitely been one of them.
And you're probably at the point now where you're like, hey, this letting go stuff is actually not too bad. I could do a bit more of this.
Yeah, I fall back into bad habits, but I'm definitely year on year, it's definitely an improvement.
All right, awesome. Hey, I've got a couple of questions here that we like to start to wrap the show with that neither of us have actually seen yet. So we've got about 5 questions here that I'll run through, and you just give me the first thought that comes off the top of your head. We try and do them in about a minute or so, but rarely hit that target. So you can take as long as you want. So ready to get into it? We're going to kick off with saying, if you could go back to when you started in business, what's the number one piece of advice you would give yourself?
Get into tech earlier.
Yep. Okay. And is that general advice or just advice to yourself given the journey that you've gone down?
Oh, I think it's probably specific to my journey, but yeah, there's something really exciting in that scalability factor that you just can't have when your only income is appointment by appointment.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. What business buzzword do you hate the most?
This is going to be controversial on this podcast, but I don't really like entrepreneur. Like, I would never call
That's
myself an
fine.
entrepreneur, and I think it's a loosely used term that people probably throw around a bit willy nilly without either being one or understanding what one is.
Yeah, no, I agree. So in our community, the business owners, the vast majority of them just refer to themselves as business owners. They're not entrepreneurs. They're not like, and like we talked about earlier, they don't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to start a great world conquering business. They just kind of end up in a really great business that they love. And then, maybe, down the track, they call themselves entrepreneurs, but not to start, that's for sure. All right. What are you looking forward to the most when Melbourne comes out of lockdown?
Oh, well, we're coming out of lockdown on the Monday after grand final day, and I'm not going to lie, I would love to have a beer with my mates and watch the footy, but it's
Yeah.
absolutely travel to see our families. No one wants Melbourne people to visit them, and no one wants to visit Melbourne at the moment. So for us, my parents live in Tassie, and my wife's beautiful family live in Perth. And the first thing we will do is visit the kids' grandparents as soon as we can.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, my actually both sets of my parents and my wife's parents are all down in Victoria, so we haven't seen them since Christmas. So yeah, connecting with them will definitely be amazing. All right, what's been the most effective ritual or habit you've adopted which helps with your productivity?
Getting up early, moving in the morning,
Yep.
getting up early, waking up my body and brain by 6 o'clock, and trying to get as much done before midday as I can. I kind of refer to them as my power hours, and whatever I can get done before
Yep.
midday tends to be my best work.
Nice. Good set of power hours there. It's like 6 power hours. Normally that'd be like two would be good for most people. All right. So final question here, and then I'll just ask you another question about what's ahead. But final question out of these five is for business owners who need to keep powering through 2020, but might be feeling a bit tired, a bit burnt out. What advice would you give them so they can keep making it happen?
I think your business generally gives you a good indication when it's the right time to rest. And it does feel at the moment that those that are hustling the hardest are getting the best results or pivoting best or making the most of this situation. I mean, I know my situation's a fairly unique one, but even others that have had to really pivot and think outside the square and adapt quickly or go tech based or whatever it might be tend to be coping the best. So I would say do now what your business needs you to do, and then take that big deep breath later, because the time for rest will come.
Yeah, good, great advice. Yeah, there's still, even in amongst all the chaos and all the challenges, there is opportunity. There's opportunity for every business with a little bit of smarts and thinking about how you can do things a bit differently, and that'll put you in good stead.
Yeah, and I would add, look for things that you have found in this time, these weird silver linings, and make sure you don't just go back to completely how you used to be and not perhaps identify how they could become a new revenue stream for the new bricks and mortar business. I've got lots of mates with gyms. They've started online training to keep themselves afloat, and a lot of them have kind of got this psychology: if the second the doors open again, I'm just going to scrap this. And I'm thinking, why can't you have an
Mm.
online subscription and a bricks and mortar subscription, and you can make a few extra $1,000s a week by giving your clients the option to both? And as soon as you kind of plant that seed in their head, they go, oh yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. So just simple things like that, I think people need to think about.
Yeah, awesome. And all the hard work they will have put into it over the last couple of months, like don't let that go to waste. All right. So last question from me is, what are you looking forward to over the next year or so for 28, for the woodshed, or just what's ahead for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's been 4.5 years, but it really does feel like we're just getting started. For us, as the sector grows, online fitness grows, our audience grows. It's just about helping more people. And I really feel that, the next 2 or 3 years are going to be absolutely crazy. We're going to have to continue to evolve, continue to provide great content, great, app features or whatever it might be to stay at the top of the tree. But I'm up for that challenge. Continue to listen to our customers, give them what they need, And as the sector evolves, make sure we evolve with it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it sounds like you are very well placed for that journey. So well done on everything done to get to here. Well done on the sort of great growth over the last 6 months. And I really want to wish you well for the future. Thank you very much for joining us. Sam Wood, great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Tim. My pleasure, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Make It Happen show. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And it doesn't need to end there. We've actually gone and grabbed a whole bunch of extra resources for you. Behind the scenes footage, videos from this and all the other episodes, as well as show notes that you can grab for free. Just head along to www.the-entourage.com/podcast and you can grab all those extra resources. Thanks for tuning in, and I cannot wait to introduce you to our next guest on the next episode.